Hello, friends. Welcome to the Awesome Algebro. Today's topic is exponential growth and decay, a very easy concept that once we see a few examples, I think you're going to be a pro at this concept. First off, exponential growth deals with two types of exponential functions, either for growth or for decay. Now, the formula for growth and the formula for decay deal with the same variables. Where it uses a formula that uses the letter A, what is the initial or starting amount, you always start with how much did you start with. If you started with $100, you got to put $100 first. If you started with 50 squirrels, you got to put 50 first. If you started with 500 bacteria, you got to put 500 first. Whatever you started with, that's what you write down first. Then you have the variable R, which is either going to increase your growth rate in the sense of growth, R is going to subtract from it in the sense of decay. And X is going to be any time that has passed. All right, the formula for growth, very easy formula. We'll go over it, briefly, is A1 plus R to the X power. And the formula for decay goes the opposite direction. It's going to be A1 minus R to the X power. So growth makes something bigger, decay makes something smaller. Now, one thing to note, which makes this concept super easy. Every problem starts at 100%. Every problem starts at 100%. Growth makes it go above 100%. You start with 100% and then you're going to add more to it. But decay does the opposite. Decay starts with 100%, but because decay means to take away, decay is going to subtract and is going to make you have less than 100%. So once again, every problem starts at 100%. Growth makes it go above 100%. Decay makes it go below 100%. All right, let's take a look at an example so we can see exactly what we're talking about here. So quick problem, I'll read it. A town's population is currently 12,000 and is growing at a 4% rate per year. What will be the population in 7 years? So easy peasy. All we have to do at this point is just set up the problem, make sure we put the right numbers in the right place. But we have to ask ourselves a question. Are we dealing with a growth problem? Are we dealing with decay? Now, clearly, because of the problem we said is growing at 4%, we're dealing with a growth problem, so we need to use the growth formula. And whatever we get, we know it's going to give us something that's greater than 100%. So we're going to start with the growth formula, and let's make sure we put the right numbers in the right places. The first thing we need to put is how much did we start with? We started with 12,000 people. Now, the second thing we need to do is figure out what is the growth rate. Again, every problem starts at 100%. Growth is going to add to that 100%. So you started at 100%, it grew an extra 4%. Well, if it started at 100% and it added 4%, what do you have now? You should have 104%. You started at 100 and you got 4 more. And X is going to be what's the population in 7 years? So we're just going to replace the X with 7. Now, one thing of note is you do have to convert your percentage to a decimal. So 104%, if we convert it to a decimal, is going to be 1.04. And how do we convert things to decimals? We simply move our decimal point 1, 2 spaces back, and then that lets us know how to convert from a percent to a decimal. So once again, we have 12,000, and our growth rate is 1.04, and it's going to be to the 7th power. If we plugged it into Desmos or any other calculator, we would get a result of 15,791 people. All right, let's take a look at a couple more examples to make sure we are experts. All right, we're going to start with Francisco wants to save for college. His bank recommends a 6.5% high interest account. He received $8,700 as a graduation gift. If he was to put that in the bank and just let it sit there, how much would he have after 3 years? All right, the first thing we need to ask ourselves is this considered a growth problem or a decay problem? So if you put money in the bank and it has an interest rate, it's going to grow. This would be a growth problem. So we need to use the growth formula. We just need to put the right numbers in the right places. Okay, first off, how much did you start with? You started with 8,700. Okay, now the next thing is, what is the growth rate? Now, again, every problem starts at 100%. This situation grew 6.5%. So 100% plus 6.5% would give you 106.5%. And it asks you for how much time passed. That would be X. And in this case, it would be 3 years. And again, you have to turn your percentages into a decimal. So let's move our decimal point 2 spaces back. And that will give us 1.65, 1.065. Okay, let's plug that in. So we have our A, which is 8,700. We have our growth rate, 1.065, and we have our number of years, which is 3. We plug it into Desmos, our graphing calculator, and we will get our result of $10,509.16. Not bad. Not bad if he's going to keep it in the bank. Okay, let's do another problem. Stephanie purchased a new sports car for $25,000. The value of the car depreciates 13% every year. What equation would model this situation where it depreciates for 13% every year? Okay, would this be considered a growth problem or a decay problem? Well, based on the wording, I think it would probably be considered a decay problem. So we need to use the decay formula. And by the way, just a little special note, words that start with DE typically mean less, mean to subtract, means to go down, like decrease, DE, decline, go down, depreciate, the value goes down, decay, it keeps getting smaller and smaller. So when you see things that start with a DE, that's a generally good way to, a good indicator to let you know it's probably going to be something less. But let's go ahead and use our formula and get everything plugged in. Okay, our decay formula is actually going to go the opposite direction. Decay is going to make it go smaller. So every problem starts at 100%. And in this case, because it's decay, it's going to start with 100% and get smaller. So first thing we need to do is identify how much did you start with? You started with $25,000. Now, our growth rate, we started at 100, it went down 13%. You started at 100%, it went down 13%. Well, if it went down 13%, what percent do you have now? You should have 87%. And how much time did they give us? They didn't give us any time. So we're just going to leave it as X. But we still need to make sure we turn our decimals, our percentages into decimals. So we have 87%. Let's turn that into a decimal, which is 0.87. Okay, we always move our decimal point 2 spaces to the left. All right, let's put it in. 25,000 times 0.87 to the X power, because they didn't give us any time. That would be the equation that models this situation. But what if they did give us numbers? Like, in 5 years, how much would the car be worth? So we keep everything the same, 25,000, 0.87, and we just put it to the 5th power. And that would give us 12,460. Okay, 2 more problems and then we're done. Now, we're going to go much faster this time. Okay, we will just plug in the right numbers and see if we're on the right track. A new robotics company is expected to grow at a 9% rate. The company currently has 400 employees. Write an exponential function to model the number of employees, Y, after X years. Okay, so what did we start with? How many employees did we start with? And would this be considered a growth or decay? Well, clearly it's a growth because it said it grew at a 9% rate. All right, so how much did we start with? That's the first thing you write down. We started with 400 employees. Now, the growth rate. If you start at 100 and it grew 9%, that would be 109%. But as a decimal, that would be 1.09. And it didn't give us any time, so we would just leave it to the x power. Done. You are an expert at this point. All right, let's do one more, and then we're done. The local high school currently has 3,990 students. Each year, the number of students who attend the school decreases by 11%. How many students will the school have in 2.5 years? So we're going to do this quick, and we're going to do it the same way. First thing we have to ask, is it growth? Is it decay? Because it decreases every year, we're going to say, obviously, decay. All right, first number we write, how much did you start with? We started with 3,990 students. That's the first number we put down. Now, the growth rate, if every problem starts at 100 and 100% and it decreased 11%, you start at 100%, it decreased 11%. Well, that should give us 89%, or 0.89 as a decimal. Now, how many years did they give us? They gave us 2.5, so we'll raise it to the 2.5 power. All right, let's plug that into our calculator and see what we get. And we'll get 2,982 students. Hey friends, thanks for watching the Awesome Algebra. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for the most awesome algebra tips available. And again, thank you for making me a part of your day.